Rock, verify range, go.
Range green.
First stage tank pressing up.
A well thought out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold.
That third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
8 weeks later, Musk bet the company on another flight.
We have liftoff.
And this time around, everything worked.
Perfect.
If that fourth launch hadn't worked, that would have been it. We would have not had the resources to mount the ship.
Successful entrepreneurs probably come in all sizes, shapes, and flavors. Some of the things I've described already, I think, are very important. I think really an obsessive nature with respect to the quality of the product. Really liking what you do, whatever area that you get into. Given that, even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short. When my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. We had just one computer, so the website was up during the day and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time. You just keep going and get it done.
Put $90 billion, like 50 years worth of brakes into solar and wind, to Solyndra and Fisker and Tesla and Enter1. I mean, I had a friend who said, you don't just pick the winners and losers, you pick the losers.
I'm available 24/7 to help solve issues. Call me 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning, I don't care.
But his bets paid off.
We didn't just repay the principal, we actually repaid it with interest and a bonus payment. So ultimately, the U.S. taxpayer actually made a profit of over $20 million on this loan.
Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100 hour weeks every week. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. A natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? Your product or service needs to be much better. It can't be a little bit better. All those things improve the odds of success. I think my sort of drive to get it done is somewhat disconnected from hope, enthusiasm, or anything else. I actually just don't care about hope or enthusiasm, motivation. I just give it everything I've got, irrespective of what the circumstances may be.
Even in the early days, if you set a computer on every desk in every home and you'd say, okay, how many homes are there in the world? How many desks are there in the world? Can I make $20 for every home, $20 for every desk? You could get these big numbers. But part of the beauty of the whole thing was we were very focused on the here and now. Should we hire one more person? If our customers didn't pay us, would we have enough cash to meet the payroll? We really were very practical about that next thing and so involved in the deep engineering that we didn't get ahead of ourselves. We never thought, how big we'd be. I remember when one of the early lists of wealthy people came out, and one of the Intel founders was there. The guy who ran Wing Computers actually was still doing well. And we thought, boy, if the software business does well, the value of Microsoft could be similar to that. But it wasn't a real focus. The everyday activity of just doing great software drew us in. And some decisions we made, like the quality of the people, the way we were very global, the vision of how we thought about software, that was very long term. But other than those things, we just came into work every day and wrote more code and hired more people. And it wasn't really until the IBM PC succeeded, and perhaps even until Windows succeeded, that there was a broad awareness that Microsoft was very unique as a software company, that these other companies had been one product companies, hadn't hired people, couldn't do a broad set of things, didn't renew their excellence, didn't do research. So we thought we were doing something very unique, but it was easily not until 1995 or even 1997 that there was this wide recognition that we were the company that had revolutionized software. In all success stories, there are significant elements of luck and timing. If somebody reads the book to say that if you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you'll be super good at it, I don't think that's quite as simple as that. What you do is you do about 50 hours and 90% drop out because they don't like it or they're not good. You do another 50 hours and 90% drop out. So there's these constant cycles, and you do have to be lucky enough, but also fanatical enough to keep going. And so the person who makes it to 10,000 hours is not just somebody who's done it for 10,000 hours. There's somebody who's chosen and been chosen in many different times. And so all these magical things came together, including who I know in that time. And I think that's very important. When you look at somebody who's good and say, could I do it like them? They've gone through so many cycles that it may fool you that, yes, you could with the right luck, imagination, and some talent. If you find an idea that requires 3 or 4 years of improvement and patience and really sticking with it, that we're very good at that. Take Windows, which we bet our company on. Everybody doubted that would succeed. IBM did not support us in that. It took longer than we expected, over 4 years before finally graphical interface got popular, and now people take it for granted. It's part of every personal computer, and you just expect it to be there. That was one of the grand successes of the company. In the same way, we're betting on the internet, that our tools there will be popular, and that a few of these content plays that we've decided to get involved in, that the scale and the users will make those into great business. I'm optimistic that we can do this, but I talk to skeptics who claim there is no hope. They say inequity has been with us since the beginning and will be with us until the end, because people just don't care. I completely disagree. I believe we have more caring than we know what to do with. But if you want to inspire people to participate, you have to show more than numbers. You have to convey the human impact of the work, so people can feel what saving a life means to the families affected. As my class graduated without me, technology was emerging that would make the world smaller, more open, more visible, less distant. The emergence of low-cost personal computers gave rise to a powerful network that has transformed opportunities for learning and communicating. The magical thing about this network is not just that it collapses distance and makes everyone your neighbor. It also dramatically increases the number of brilliant minds we can bring in to work together on the same problem. And it scales up the rate of potential innovation to a staggering degree. At the same time, for every person who has access to this technology, 5 people don't. That means many creative minds are left out of this discussion. Smart people with practical intelligence and relevant experience who don't have the technology to hone their talents or contribute their ideas to the world. We need as many people as possible to gain access to this technology, because these advances are triggering a revolution in what human beings can do for one another.
Many kids and many grown-ups do figure out over time what their passions are. And sometimes we let I don't think it's that hard. I think what happens though sometimes is that we let our intellectual selves overrule those passions. And so that's what needs to be guarded against. My job, one of my jobs as the leader of Amazon, is to encourage people to be bold. And people love to focus on things that aren't yet working. And that's good, it's human nature. That kind of divine discontent can be very helpful. But you really, it's incredibly hard to get people to take bold bets. And you need to encourage that. And if you're gonna take bold bets, they're gonna be experiments. And if they're experiments, you don't know ahead of time whether they're gonna work. Experiments are by their very nature prone to failure. But big successes, a few big successes compensate for dozens and dozens of things that didn't work. So, bold bets, AWS, Kindle, Amazon Prime, our third-party seller business, all of those things are examples of bold bets that did work, and they pay for a lot of experiments. I've made billions of dollars of failures at Amazon.com, literally billions of dollars of failures. And you might remember Pets.com or Cosmo, or but they don't matter. What really matters is companies that don't continue to experiment, companies that don't embrace failure. They eventually get in a desperate position where the only thing they can do is make a kind of Hail Mary bet at the very end of their corporate existence. Whereas companies that are, making bets all along, even, big bets, but not bet the company bets. I don't believe in bet the company bets. That's when you're desperate. That's the last thing you can do. I was working at a financial firm in New York City with a bunch of very smart people, and I had a brilliant boss I much admired. I went to my boss and told him I was going to start a company selling books on the internet. He took me on a long walk in Central Park, listened carefully to me, and finally said, "That sounds like a really good idea, but it would be an even better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job." That logic made some sense to me, and he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision. Seen in that light, it really was a difficult choice, but ultimately, I decided I had to give it a shot. I didn't think I'd regret trying and failing, and I suspected I would always be haunted by a decision to not try at all. After much consideration, I took the less safe path to follow my passion, and I'm proud of that choice. Tomorrow, in a very real sense, your life, the life you author from scratch on your own, begins. How will you use your gifts? What choices will you make? Will inertia be your guide, or will you follow your passions? Will you follow dogma, or will you be original? Will you choose a life of ease, or a life of service? Will you wilt under criticism, or will you follow your convictions? Will you bluff it out when you're wrong, or will you apologize? Will you guard your heart against rejection, or will you act when you fall in love? Will you play it safe, or will you be a little bit swashbuckling? When it's tough, will you give up, or will you be relentless? Will you be a cynic, or will you be a builder? Will you be clever at the expense of others? I will hazard a prediction. When you are 80 years old, and in a quiet moment of reflection, narrating for only yourself the most personal version of your life story, the telling that will be most compact and meaningful will be the series of choices you have made. In the end, we are our choices. Build yourself a great story. Thank you and good luck.
You are always in the right place at the right time. The best and the highest comes to you at every moment. You receive everything wonderful that you desire. You are a wonderful person. You grow younger and more beautiful every day. You are successful at everything you do. You love and accept yourself for who you are. You are infinitely wealthy and rich, and have an infinite abundance of money and precious treasures. You are in the perfect love relationship with the perfect person for you. You deserve and receive happiness in every aspect of your life. The universe blesses you every moment with love and joy. You are completely healthy in every way. Your body, soul, and mind are in complete harmony with each other, which keeps you in perfect health and forever young. You are talented and creative. You enjoy being yourself. You really are beautiful. You are special and unique. You accept yourself for the wonderful person you are. You enjoy giving and receiving love at every moment. Your life is blessed with eternal youth, wealth, love, and much happiness. You are loved for the beautiful and kind person that you are. I love you.